Go. Alright, Josh, you're back behind the computer and you're already fucking up.
No, I'm waiting on Facebook, okay?
This is great.
It's always waiting on Facebook.
There we go.
It's working.
Yeah, we got it. See, I knew I could do it.
Awesome.
No issues.
It only took like a half an hour.
Baby steps.
Yeah, we're
All right, let's go.
Are we good?
No, I'm waiting on Facebook still.
Oh.
Maybe we can
We
get
need to change the name of the podcast. It currently has Gilius, and I'm pretty sure this ain't Gilius.
It has Gilius?
Oh, that flame.
Yikes.
No.
I got it.
We'll fix it for our guest. We don't want to ruin his debut.
You should ask him about that when we get him on here. You should ask him if he wants to be Gilius or not, if that is a thing that...
Oh, he definitely is in a better place than Gilius right
now.
now.
What? Oh, I guess that's true. That is true.
Just, I think we're going to just take one moment here.
All right.
Everyone, if you're listening, stick around. We're just fixing some technical difficulties. I guess you can't see it yet.
I legit hit live, so I don't...
We still are live.
That's good. Okay.
You guys can't see what's going on right
we're
now.
Definitely live.
But we have Josh behind the computer,
There
and
we
that's
go.
why...
Hey, and it's us now.
I don't think they can see us yet.
There we go.
It is. I'm Colin McNeil.
And I'm Kyle Chatterson.
Okay, I don't know why that's in here. But,
All right, I'm sorry, you guys. So we have Josh behind the computer, and he's messing up everything. But it's okay. We're here and we're live.
Yep. All good.
Despite what the name keys say, I'm Lisa Dwan.
I'm Gabriel Zoltan Chohan.
And as you guys know, the wreck behind the computer is Josh Murray.
Why does it keeps playing the... Oh my goodness.
Yes, still incorrect.
So embarrassing.
All right.
All good.
And also, if you were on our YouTube or maybe Twitch as well, it currently says Gilius on the Nexus Podcast.
No,
but
I
just
switched it.
You switched it? I just want to correct.
Updated.
We do not have Gilius again.
Who do we have, Lisa?
A very, very special guest, and he's coming on our podcast to talk about some news that just came out.
Timely news.
Very timely news this morning. So this is episode 13 of the Nexus Podcast, and today's guest, he is the new jungler for the EULCS team Misfits. Let's welcome Maxlore to the show. Can you get this shot? Can you get the shot? Oh no! Welcome, Maxlore.
Hey Maxlore, how are you?
Oh, hey guys.
Hey, you were live. I don't know if you saw it, but the wrong name key just popped up. So you are two
basically,
people.
somebody came into my file and put some things in it.
Right. Okay.
So my apologies.
You got
there we go. Yes, I was sabotaged. That's correct.
But welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
Yeah. So some big news came out this morning about your new team. You want to talk about who you're going to be playing for next season?
Well, I'm going to be playing for Misfits next season.
Replacing KaKAO.
Next season.
Replacing KaKAO for the summer split.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I guess first off, I saw a lot of people wondering. They were like, ROCCAT had such a great season, end of season in the spring, so they were kind of surprised by the change. So why did you choose to leave ROCCAT?
Well, I think that I just needed... I felt like the opportunity of Misfits was just better for me. I think that during my time in ROCCAT, there were loads of good and bad times, and I learned a lot during the split. But I think it's just better if I go with Misfits to achieve my goal.
What is the goal? What are you hoping here? Like what do you see in Misfits that maybe you did not see in this Team ROCCAT team?
I see. Well, the thing is, I worked with ROCCAT and I kind of knew the weaknesses and strengths of everything, and I could kind of see our potential and our limitations. But going into the next split, I can't just expect everything to change in a good way. Some things might stay the same, which I had a few issues with. And I know lots of the Misfits players, and I know how they work, and I think with this team I can get as good as I can be as a player and as a person.
Have you played with like Alfari before or any other person on that team?
I guess, yeah, the main person I played with before was Alfari. Back 2 years ago or something, we played in just a random tournament, and we had a random team, and we did we won the whole thing, and we were just a bunch of random people, and I worked really well with him, and throughout the past 2 years we've just been good friends and playing duo queue together and having fun and learning together, I guess.
Did that influence your decision as well then, having that kind of already struck up rapport between two players?
Yeah, I guess it did, yeah.
The top and jungle synergy is very important, right? That's what people always say.
I mean, we don't know with this new patch. It may not be, but yeah, that's pretty exciting.
I think it just really depends on the meta, yeah.
Yeah. I have a couple questions, just being a player, or like for you being a player caught up in the off-season shuffle and that type of stuff.
This news is probably the first like big news that came out of the EULCS in terms of off-season roster shuffle.
Well, I mean, unless you believe Reddit's weird.
Which one? The
Fnatic
theory?
Oh, he shut that down this morning.
Yeah,
he shut that down.
He?
Yeah, and when I spoke to Reckless, he said he's not leaving Fnatic.
Yeah.
He plans to finish his career at Fnatic. So it was a crazy rumor, but Unicorns kind of played into it a bit.
I love Reddit. Is basically my conclusion to that.
Well,
anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I wanted to ask basically what it's like to be part of off-season speculation and rumors, especially something kind of prolonged and stretched out. Does that affect you as a player in any way? Do you receive feedback or comments on these rumors when these reports come out about you transferring to a different place or transferring away from, again, what we saw was like a team on the upswing to another team?
Well, since it was kind of leaked by Jacob Wolf, as per usual.
The wolf.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of those Reddit comments, and there weren't many people atting me on Twitter, just Reddit comments. So it doesn't really affect my decision. It just I read through it, and anything that's true, I kind of just take into heart. And going into the next bit with a new team, I just have to accept that. Yeah, I did leave ROCCAT on a big win streak, but this is kind of my decision, and I just have to live with the consequences as well as the achievements that I can make with Misfits.
What were some of the interesting comments that you read on Reddit? I'm curious to what maybe stuck out in your mind.
That you took to heart, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the main one was just leaving the team on such a high note. When we had a big win streak, we ruined the G2 whole 1 year win streak that they had too. But kind of it makes me wonder what we could have been as a team if I did stay, but I think I trust myself in the decision I made, so it's gonna work out, I think.
Back on that note, so like a lot of people are wondering like what happened. You guys were doing really well on ROCCAT, and you mentioned early on here that there were some issues that you didn't feel confident that it would be resolved for next season. So what possibly could it be that can't be improved? Like I'm not saying fixed like that, but obviously if you give things enough time, things can improve.
Right.
So what was going on?
Well, the thing is, it's like, because we started so poorly, I guess we were 0-5, 0-6 or something like this. Mm-hmm. Or maybe I think it was 0-7. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
Sorry
it was
to
pretty
remind
bad,
you.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So we were 0-7. It affected our practice. It affected at least the way I lived with the team and how I saw everything. But so it kind of ruined the whole. It ruined a lot of our practice together, since we lost 5 or 6 weeks in a row and practice was really bad and we weren't improving as much as we should have. But then we won against OG and we started getting confidence again, and we kind of just said,
that series.
Oh, that BM! What the hell?
Okay. Well, the thing is, I guess just as a team, while we were losing, we just didn't know our roles together. We didn't have teamwork, and
right.
And in order to achieve teamwork, we kind of just said screw the meta, and we just did our own thing. Like we played like Swain mid, our top, but no one else was playing it and stuff like this. And yeah, because of this, we were all comfortable, and it just worked out on stage. At least practice was still pretty bad. I think everyone in ROCCAT can agree that practice was really bad, and I value practice a lot. Even though we were really good in on stage, if practice is really bad, then I just feel as a player I'm kind of not wasting my time, but not improving as much as I could be.
Right.
And that's just what I hope to get out of Misfits, I guess. Good practice.
We actually had Grabs on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and he actually made a comment about how the scrims in EU can be pretty hit or miss in terms of quality, and that like
they go by very quickly.
Yeah, they're pretty fast. Get a couple deaths, run it down mid, etc., and people are pretty quick to give up. Is that true? Has that been your experience when you're scrimming other teams?
Honestly, we like it's not just other teams to blame. It's also us. We weren't the best when it came to in game. Some days we would. If you think about it, if 20 or 30% of the time your team runs it down because someone is tired or lack of focus or bad environment or whatever, and then opposing team 30% of the time does this too, that means 40% of the time you actually have good scrims. But at the end of the day, it's not. In Europe, that 40% that's left, where people don't play incredibly bad due to outside sources, that 40% is not like playing on stage in scrims. At least the team that we scrimmed, and at least the way we played really similar to how we play on stage. It's just I guess the champs we played were different, but in scrims, like some teams would just be really over aggressive when they shouldn't be, and they wouldn't get punished for it because someone like me or someone else in my team would try to play more standard and take less risks, while the enemy bot would just push up against our tower without any vision. So I guess it could have been it's just everything. We were the problem, I guess. So were the enemy teams we were scrimming. We didn't scrim any of the top teams, which could have been a problem
right
for this. But I guess it's kind of true what Grab said.
It seems like despite the winning streak that ROCCAT had at the end of the season, the losing streak at the beginning affected you guys even more. So I'm curious to how when a team is on a losing streak, just how much does that affect your relationships, like with each other, your personal relationships?
Well, the thing is, I can speak for myself because the problem I had was that I was kind of I wasn't with the team as much. I was kind of, because we had our own apartments,
right,
me and the coaching staff, so I didn't spend as much time with my team as I wanted to, so maybe that made relations with me a bit worse. And I'm the type of guy that kind of, if I can't help it sometimes when my out of game relationships are affected by my in-game thoughts of people.
Right.
Maybe that could have changed if I lived with them and shared a few moments with them, because I heard they had some funny moments in their house. But yeah, I guess it kind of affected me that we were on a losing streak, and yeah, I had friends that helped me out during my, let's say, dark times in ROCCAT, and really helped push me to kind of see the positive side and be as good as I can be. And we kind of started winning, and it was all better, I guess.
So you were the only player that wasn't in the team house together?
I mean, they have 2 apartments, and it's just you have one apartment. There. I thought basically I chose this, and I thought I would be fine with living with the coaches instead of the players. But that wasn't the case, and yeah, I guess it just backfired.
Yeah, that just seems like a little weird, that if you're going to have an arrangement where the team lives together, hopefully you'd want to have the entire team living, at least the entire set of players living together. Was it just
like a lack of space? Like maybe there's one person didn't have a room in the team house?
I don't know what it was, but at the end of the day, it was kind of my fault that it got to the stage where it affected my personal relationships with the players as much as it did.
Always isolating and blaming the jungler. I mean, come on.
Oh my gosh. No, well.
Whatever, dude.
So with Misfits, on that note, are you planning on like living with the team? Like they have a huge team house,
they
right?
have two actually. One for the academy that that just got promoted. So maybe that's just all yours now.
Okay. Are you gonna be rooming with someone? Do you already know what the team house is gonna be like?
I actually have no clue. I'm just gonna. I've kind of seen the YouTube video that they have their gaming house, but it's not. I kind of saw it a long time ago, but I know it's like one room each, and you have it's just like a standard gaming house basically. It's not like the gaming houses you have in NA where you have like a massive swimming pool, which I wish would one day happen in EU, because that's just pretty sick.
I don't think there's lots of opportunities to swim outdoors in Berlin.
No?
To my knowledge, at least, the weather's kind of not.
Oh, it's got to be beautiful in the summer. Come on.
Come on, don't
it's summer.
be hating.
We're talking
One
summer
season.
split. We're talking summer split. We're talking
That's-
summer split.
That's true.
But I think it's a bit different when if you see like the CLG gaming house tour where there's just 20 of them living in one
Yes.
It's
massive
like a
mansion,
mansion.
and then there's like a swimming pool and basketball court. It just I was pretty jelly at that. But
Don't be jealous. Their basketball court's not that nice. I saw it.
Is it like a half court?
It was dingy. Someone even cut their hand on it. Like
Oh, that is true.
Yeah,
Someone
it's obviously it's a really nice house, and they also got two houses now. I think they actually separated between CLG Black and the
Interesting.
regular CLG roster.
Do they both have swimming pools?
The new
or-
one, I'm not sure. The old one does. CLG Black is rolling in a house with a pool and basketball court.
CLG Black got the pool?
Yeah.
Whoa.
But
Not to go off on a tangent
No,
about
sorry,
houses
anyways.
here.
Yeah, that's fine.
is so was that a determination in you signing with Misfits? I know you talked about aspirations and personal goals with performance and seeing a team that could take you to a higher level. Essentially, was the setup or the infrastructure, or maybe like did the Miami Heat influence that decision of yours at all? Like, what were the external factors outside of the game that maybe helped you guide you to this decision?
I think I just wanted a fresh start really with a new team, since I was not happy with how it went in, let's say, and I'm hoping that kind of changes with Misfits.
Okay. Just so everyone who's listening, there was a little technical difficulty
don't
there
know.
where it was a little buffering.
It wasn't me. Okay,
wasn't
it's something
me.
to do with Skype.
Was it
Alright.
Skype?
It
I don't know if
was-
the internet connection cut out there, but maybe you want to just
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, let's just repeat it.
Sorry.
Repeat what?
Your answer. So
Yeah.
what was appealing about Misfits
What
that made
answer?
you want to join? He's
Sorry.
like, I didn't say anything.
We heard it was a fresh start, and then it got a little
Fuzzy.
wonky after that.
Yes, the robot began.
Yeah, I just feel like a fresh start would be good, and Misfits they got top 4 and they were still willing to replace a player to go even further, which kind of shows. I kind of like the fact that Misfits would do something like that, and I guess the players I know Hans and Alfari.
Right.
Alfari the most, but I know how these two players work. And I think it'll go pretty well next bit.
Were you approached by them, or did you kind of just let yourself out in the open and receive offers?
I don't know if I can say that stuff, so I'd rather not say anything.
No
Okay.
worries, no
I
I mean, I didn't see
worries.
him tweet out, "Oh, looking for a new team, open DMs," which seems to be the protocol for every
Yeah,
player.
it's always Twitter.
I am still contracted to
Yeah,
Team
yeah, yeah.
X, but I am able to field offers
DM
from
or
teams.
Skype me.
Yeah, exactly.
Never
Yeah.
email. Never email.
Do you
Don't
guys know
email.
what LinkedIn is? Like,
Wait, do esports teams use LinkedIn? Like, it's like I need
hope a couple do that.
I need a mid laner. Yeah, just available EU mid laner. Enter.
you know, speaking of that, so like with the whole franchising topic coming up, it's going to be more visible what people are, drafting and like who they're looking to get, right? Whereas right now it's currently kind of behind the curtains a lot.
Right.
Do you think that's a good thing for, I guess, the LCS as a whole? The fact that it's more visibility, more transparency?
Well, first of all, we're talking about NALCS franchising, right?
EU hasn't announced anything yet.
Right.
LPL has announced that they're going to
Yes.
NA
it.
technically hasn't announced anything.
Haven't
yet.
officially,
No,
but
there's
come on, guys.
nothing official, but yes.
So I guess we're just speculating.
It's not speculate. I mean, anyways.
I want to get Maxlore's opinion on what do you think about like if EU were to go towards franchising, how would the whole change in like drafting and like building teams? Was that a good thing for the LCS? You think?
You mean the whole roster swaps happening in secrecy?
Yeah.
Like right now it's in secrecy, right? But with franchising coming up. Yeah.
I haven't really read much about the franchising, but I think it was pretty. I don't know, because the change could be good, but the whole secrecy thing was also pretty good. I don't know how it's going to work with the whole poaching rule from Riot, but
Right.
I like the whole secrecy rule because you can just. Only your kind of closest friends or your family would know your decision and your thoughts, and you can and talk to them, and
is that how it works?
you won't, let's say, I don't even know, just YOLO, just whatever.
That's a good way to end an answer.
Right
I don't even know, just
Maxlore,
YOLO.
what do you think about
I
franchising?
can't
YOLO.
think properly.
That's fine. That's fine. I actually want to ask you, Maxlore. I have to confess that I don't know the answer completely, but like when was the last time we had 2 UK starters on an EU LCS team? I was
Never.
Never?
Never.
Is that true?
I think it's Super Hot Crew with Kissing and Impaler.
Oh,
think
actually, yeah, that's true.
So
I think that's it.
So is that
They came third.
They came
Yeah.
third?
Yeah.
is there any sort of pride in that for you to be like there aren't a ton of starting UK players in the EU LCS, and it's kind of I don't want to say it's a meme, but I mean, if I've seen a lot of people from the UK sort of poke fun at UK esports, whatever, but like this is big though. Like I like, does this mean anything to you to be in this position with another UK
duo,
starter? Yeah, that's I mean, it seems pretty unique to me. What do you think?
Well, I think I guess the team holds a kind of UK pride thing right now, because now if a UK player a UK person wants to support a UK player, they don't have to pick between ROCCAT and Misfits. They can just support one team since they are both.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the only benefit I see it. I don't really think nationality matters too much. Because at the end of the day, we're all role models for everyone in Europe or even the world to play League or whatever. So in this case, where there's only 2 of us in the Misfits team, it doesn't matter that much to me, and probably not much to Alfari, but maybe it will when it comes to if in the future we had to play in the UK, which hopefully one day will happen in like Wembley Arena or whatever. We have the full support of the UK crowd. I think it'll be pretty cool.
That would be cool, because we've seen Biofrost and Wild Turtle, Smoothie in the 2 Canadian NALCS venues that we've had for the past 2 splits. So that would be really cool.
They're doing the flag thing, like
I love
they have
it.
them draped in the flags, like that pride.
I love the flag thing. It's great.
I'm into it.
I'm definitely into it.
It begs the question of whether we get those kind of like national teams to like an event of that type of stuff.
That'll never happen.
That'd be cool. It'd be interesting though.
Shut it down, will ya?
I'm shutting you down, Gabe. Sorry. That's too.
Right.
Yeah.
A man can dream.
Oh. Maxlore, so now that you're joining Misfits, you are replacing KaKAO, who has a reputation, like he's a great player, reputation of being a great player.
He had a very good split.
Very good split. He's a veteran he was a veteran on the team. So how do you feel about kind of stepping into his shoes and playing in his place for Misfits?
I don't. When it comes to replacing people or something like this, I don't think it affects me too much in what I want to do. Like what more I want to provide than KaKAO. It's just me, like I go into a team and I provide them my full support and effort, and I let them know what my goals are, and I'm just going to do my best. It doesn't matter who I replace. I'm just going to do my best to communicate as good as I can and play as good as I can on the fields of justice. That's it.
Abiding by that summoner's code while you do so.
The summoner's code's
Yeah.
important. You shouldn't make fun of it, okay? It's
I
like
agree.
the glue that binds this all together, all right?
That kind of the tone you have there was kind of like an elevator pitch almost, like you know what an elevator pitch
Like
is?
an interview,
Maxlore?
like if you
Yeah,
were
like a
being
job interview.
interviewed by Misfits, and that was like the attitude questions.
So here's an interview question right here. Pretend I was like Misfits trying to hire you. What would you say is your greatest strength that you will bring to the team? That's such an interview question, like a job interview question.
Okay. Lisa doesn't
I don't-
interview people for our company, just
No.
so you know.
No,
so that's
not
why
at
that was
all.
a
I
bit
never do
soft.
that.
But anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
I think I'll just let them know I'll do whatever it takes to win.
Ooh.
For that, I'll do whatever it takes to win as long as everyone puts effort in. I'll be willing to be the player that the team wants me to be and more. For example, if a team wants me to, it's just like Sven said in that interview of his, if it's his job to carry, then he will carry. Otherwise, he'll just be the support, and that's kind of what I'm aiming to be, a really adaptive player.
Do you find that attitude kind of permeates a lot of LCS players and professional players at the moment, that they're willing to kind of adapt or be one carry role or support role or whatever? Or do you find that players often get pigeonholed or want to be one specific thing and are really stubborn about it?
Well, I've only been in esports for about, as in the LCS for a year. I don't know if UK scene counts. If it does, then 2 years.
That's what I'm talking about, man. I don't know if UK scene
Of course
counts.
it counts,
Like,
man.
come on.
It's a national league.
Well,
It's like CS.
based on my experience, I haven't met many players that are adaptive and are willing to take one for the team and play everything and not just one style. But the people that I know are like this, that are adaptive and will do whatever it takes to win, they're on the top teams, and they're the people that I aspire to be and I'm good friends with. Most of the G2, if not all of the G2 players are like this, and
Right.
as far as I know, some Misfits players are like this. I haven't played with all of them, so I think there is a minority, but there's a reason. But they are kind of rewarded for it. They're getting highly placed in the LCS, or if they're on a lower team, they'll get picked up by higher teams. So I think, just to go back to the question, yeah, there are a small amount of players like this that are adaptive, and there are loads of players that aren't, but you can't really see it as a viewer.
The ones that do very well for themselves. Yeah.
Yeah,
It seems
but
that way.
I think teams need a bit of both. I don't think it should be 5 adaptive players. You need a few in a team, and you can have 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 people that have their own style, and you just play around that, and that can help you win games, maybe win the split or even worlds or whatever. But it's not a bad thing. It just means you're really good at that style, and you just need a good mix of people, I guess.
You need some jacks of all trades, some masters of some, all that
Yeah.
fun stuff.
You hear like when teams are building, they always choose like 1 or 2 players that are kind of like their pillars, and then choose players that can kind of work around that, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Back to now that you're joining Misfits, I feel like in EU, the top teams, at least in the last year-ish, about over a year, the top teams have kind of remained the same. We have G2 at the top always. We have, and then Unicorns. We have H2K that we're kind of seeing as well. It's kind of been the same team. So, Maxlore, you're joining Misfits. Misfits had a great first season.
Fantastic.
And you've beaten G2 when you were with ROCCAT. Like, how do you feel with next season coming up? Is it going to be shaken, like in terms of the standings?
Will
like,
there be more parity? Is the competition in the EU going to be actual competition?
Will Misfits be able to like dethrone G2 as the best team in EU?
Well, all these, I'm really not sure about these these 2 fresh teams joining the LCS, but if they provide younger players or new Korean talent, then yeah, it could shake the standings. But if the rosters stay the same, like they just pick up the old OG or whatever, then the the standings might not be as shaky and as miracle ROCCAT win streak kind of thing, there is a small chance of that happening again. Maybe the same thing will happen to ROCCAT or one of the new teams. Maybe G2 will have a slow start and then they'll be amazing at the end of the split. So no one really knows. All I'm saying is just there's a lot of talent in EU, and I think if everyone works puts their mind into it and works as a team instead of performing on their own and not having any teamwork, then I think if everyone does this, EU could be a really great region.
And speaking of a great region, we see G2 going to be playing, I think, soon. They're starting their
tomorrow.
Stage. Yeah,
it's
at
tomorrow.
MSI. They're starting to play. Finally, are you going to be watching G2 perform at MSI? And what do you think are their chances of moving on to the next stage, Maxlore? You're close to the guys too, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm good friends with them.
Yeah, what do you think of them?
Yeah, well, they...
You can meme if you have to.
Yeah, you can be honest.
They're playing against SKT, right?
Yeah, that's their first
SKT.
match. Yeah.
Is that their first match?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I think... Okay, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm going to root for them, but there's a high chance that let's say the odds are against them, against SKT, maybe they pull it off and win. But I think if G2 don't learn from their past mistakes in international tournaments, they can do pretty good in this tournament and take some games, maybe even off SKT, even though everyone doubts it, but it's whatever, you know. But it's definitely nice to see the top team. It's definitely nice to see them represent Europe, because they are the top team and they are the best team, even though they haven't shown it internationally yet. They're the best chance we've got so far, so people shouldn't be too butthurt if they lose or whatever.
I put out a power rankings
before
coming on here. I had G2 at 4th.
Really? Behind who?
Behind World Elite, Flash Wolves, and SKT.
So they're the first Western team on there?
Yes. I do have them making the bracket stage and getting that first seed for Worlds Season 7. But I do think that is as far as they can go. From my analysis of things, G2 has a really big problem with snowballing leads. They are really risk averse when they do that, or when they attempt to do that. They play things super slowly. They have the highest average game time of everyone attending the tournament by at least, I think it's a minute and something. So they play super slowly. I think that could be a big problem. I think that is their big problem on the international stage normally, is that they play a little too slowly and a little too carefully. Yeah.
And teams that are better than you are gonna try to snowball that, get that early lead.
Yeah,
and roll over
if we're talking about statistically, they have the lowest added gold every minute of all the teams attending. Even Gigabyte Marines has higher added gold per minute on their gold differential than G2 does. So they're actually really slow at snowballing leads.
Maxlore, you've played against them in the EU LCS. Do you agree with what Gabe is saying, or what do you think G2's biggest, weakness is on an international stage?
Well, when we played them, I would say we were actually, it might sound bad, but we were actually quite lucky to win that second game. They were 8k ahead, and it was just a small mistake from Mithy, and then I guess they all just lost focus, and then we just got Baron and won. So I think with this whole split, they just saw Europe as practice, and they used their psychologists' kind of game concept about mid game and playing things correctly and stuff like this. They use that as practice in Europe, but when they played at IEM, for example, against Flash Wolves, the way they played was incredibly different to how they normally play, where Trick normally just farms and then they play super passive until he's ready to go, and then they go as a team, and it's kind of predictable, but it worked for them in Europe, and it helps them kind of play the game correctly. But in IEM against Flash Wolves, for example, they completely accelerated the early game and won both early games in them in the semifinals or whenever they played. And they did pretty good. They just kind of got out macroed because the enemy team was just better at it. That could be because they have more talented players or better coaching staff, or because they scrim better people. But at the end of the day, they were better in terms of macro, not because G2 couldn't snowball leads or anything. I think G2 internationally, based off what they did at IEM, they can pull off some early game victories instead of what they showed in Europe, where it was just really slow and boring.
Yeah.
And I think they can actually surprise a few people this time. Well, it's going to be a different G2 than how they played in Europe, European LCS, that's for sure.
Yeah. Another stat for everyone that I noticed when I was doing my research.
God, you're such a nerd,
Such a
Gabe.
nerd, Gabe. What's all these numbers?
There's only one support who has a higher death percentage, like of his team's deaths, than Mithy. Do you know who that person is?
Bifrost?
Hachani.
Oh, I thought you meant in the tournament.
Yeah. No, so yeah, Maxlore is totally correct. I mean, like that anecdote that he had about how ROCCAT just caught Mithy, did Baron, and then just like flipped the game on its head. That's something that is pretty common because he has a really high percentage of his team's death, and he does roam a lot attempting to get that vision there, and that could be exploited too internationally, and that very same thing could happen where G2 does get a little bit ahead, starts snowballing but really slowly, gets like a smaller than they should gold lead, and then Mithy may get caught, die. That's the gold lead flipped on its head because it's so small and it can just swing the other direction immediately. So yeah, I think that's a big concern of theirs coming into the tournament. If they do play that fast pace that they did against Flash Wolves internationally, I could see it coming out to be a bit different. But yeah, those are some pretty big concerns heading into the tournament.
Gabe, he's trying to get vision for his team,
Yeah.
man. Okay?
Always blame the support.
He's living the support life. He's trying to get vision for his team.
I'm familiar.
That's true. You are a support player, right?
Yeah, so I know what it's like. It's just it's pretty hard to buy into the hype of G2 despite their amazing domestic performance, just because the way they play can be exploited so easily.
Wait, if that's true, then why is G2 still the top team in EU if it's so easy to exploit, huh? Huh, Gabe? Huh, Maxlore? Huh? That's what I thought. No answers.
Wow, we all got shut down. We all got shut down by Lisa.
That's right.
Number one analyst on this podcast. But no, Maxlore, go ahead, sorry.
I actually think every single region is, I think all the regions apart from Korea are really behind in macro compared to Korea because they're just so far ahead. They know all the players study League of Legends. It's like they're going to school and they just watch more like the same amount or slightly less than they actually play. And whereas in every single other region, the culture is not like that, where players would sit down and actually question themselves and look through solo queue replays and look through replays on LCK or their region or whatever and see what they can do better. They just play and be like, throughout the scrim, they'll be like, oh yeah, we messed up here or whatever. So I think it just reduces the talent of teams that the top team G2 can scrim, and so they don't learn as much. Whereas in LCK, they have KT and whatever, and they constantly scrim each other.
Yeah,
constantly
KT,
study and get better.
Yeah.
So kind of, which is why you can say as a viewer, oh, it's so easy to exploit these mistakes and blah, blah, but it's just only the top team exploit the weaknesses of a team like G2, and I mean globally, not just in their region or whatever. So I think it just comes down to how far ahead Korea are ahead of every single region. Even though you could argue that the other regions like NA is better than EU or EU is better than NA, at the end of the day, when it's the Koreans, it really just doesn't matter. They'll just completely mess and you can't do much about it. So even though G2 are winning and the best team in Europe, there's just no down, which you can kind of feel sorry for G2 because they were really hardworking players and there's no one to kind of challenge them. It took ROCCAT to beat them and kind of make them think about how they play. And even though ROCCAT was a great team at the end, if we play against teams, we'll have no chance. So it's just, as in the West or everywhere else, North Korea, just the culture of esports needs to grow, and people need to change their learning process and try to study the game a bit more and put more effort thinking about it than just play.
Yeah, I actually fully agree with that, because often what you see is a lot of teams, when they really want to grind out and practice, they'll start like overbooking scrim blocks. They'll be like, oh, we used to play 2 scrim blocks, well now we're going to play 3 or 4, when that may not be as productive as actually, you know, literally studying the game, literally like kind of taking your League of Legends classes that your coach is teaching you, right? Like the same thing is true of any other activity. You're not just going to get better just by like constantly doing the activity. Often you need someone or something to help you refine those actions and actually get you to understand why you should be doing the things that you're doing or maybe not doing, right?
I think you're biased because you're a coach.
But I think that I don't know. Do you disagree with me?
I'm just being lighthearted.
All right.
Shit disturbing is the word you're looking for.
I would prefer the term memer, but thank you.
I just don't think that people put enough stock in like not playing the game and learning through other means.
I actually really like the point that Maxlore said also. He was like, the region, like G2 only gets to play the teams in their region, right? And there's a saying that you're only as good as the people.
The weakest link.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like if they might be the best in EU, but if they're playing teams that are weaker, they're not going to be prepared for international teams that are our own, like Korean teams.
Yeah, but the weakest link here is Origin, Lisa. Are you saying that?
Wait, who is that? Who is that?
Whoa, that's like, it's too early for that. It's too soon.
KaKAO is crying somewhere.
But seriously, though, I think that's a really interesting topic of discussion, which is that, you know, like international competition also brings like a lot of scrims in some cases. And there was an interview about how SKT had been scrimming Flash Wolves pretty extensively and said that they were actually very impressed with them and they found them to be good practice,
that was Slingshot.
Yeah, I think it was Slingshot that did that interview. And I thought that was really interesting because, you know, like Flash Wolves last year at MSI, they got, were they beaten by CLG, right, in the semis? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But they also beat SKT in the round robin.
Right.
Well,
okay. So maybe some consistency stuff a little bit, maybe. I don't know.
Totally.
But that, to me, that's just a really interesting thing that this team has gone from being like, I don't know, to like SKT's like, we get good scrims from this team. And they arguably are also in a region where, like, I don't know, right? Like you just said, you're in your own region. You're the best team in your region. You're the big fish in your pond. But they're going to MSI and SKT's like, we get some good scrim from that. So I thought that was a really interesting comment from them.
Also, like scrimming people of different styles as well, because people are so familiar with, you know, their own region and the style of that region.
On this note, then, Maxlore, are you of? You know, there are 2 teams: people who want more international competition, and then, you know,
People
get rid
who
of
don't.
and people who don't because they think the spring split is valuable. Maxlore, what do you think on that debate? Do you think there should be more international competition?
I think for sure there should be more international competition, just because the experience everyone gets from not only scrimming these incredibly good teams from the other regions, but also being out of your comfort zone, going to a different, because when you're in LCS, you're in the same house for a few months, you know everything, and when you go on stage, you kind of get used to it. But when you go to an international competition, if you don't get used to the stage fast, you're just going to get knocked out. So I think for sure international competitions would really help improve every region. Maybe the best region not that much compared to the other regions, but for sure it would be great to have some sort of international competition once or twice, like 1 or 2 times more, with the top 3 teams or the top 2 teams from every region, so that it gives a chance for every region, it gives a chance for more teams to learn. For example, now, and then they're going to come back and they're going to scrim all these other teams and not going to learn as much, but the other teams will learn from them. But there's like you're only going to scrim, G2 only accepts scrims from the good teams, right? So they're going to keep it within their own bubble of top teams. Whereas I think if you take more teams into international competitions, then they can learn more and let's say spread the knowledge evenly across every region except Korea. So
it's the world versus
maybe
Korea.
Korea won't like this idea, but I think for every other region to have a better chance of winning worlds, not just Korea again, I think it'll be pretty cool. And also it'll be great for the viewers to have like more international competition, because it can get a bit boring to just watch EULCS and the same teams where the standings are completely the same. Whereas internationally, there's a whole, like, there's 10 million people in Europe supporting that one team, and it's you're just all wishing for the best. And you can all, as that European team, you can kind of feel the pride of Europe and it makes you maybe better, or makes your, like, prolongs your career because you're so happy with the amount of support you're receiving. So I think definitely having international competition more often with maybe more teams would be really cool to, let's say, keep watching League alive, you know?
So you just said how it's cool having, like, as the European team going to international competitions to have kind of everyone support you. But I feel like recently EU as a region has been getting a lot of flack for, I guess, their international performances. Not blaming you, G2, but
It happens.
so, like, you know, for every other player that's in the region, you know, not on G2, you know, you watch G2, you're supporting them, and then you see them perform this way, and you hear everyone talking, like, on Reddit, on social media, how, like, oh, EU's, like, not as good as NA now. Like, they're worse than NA as a region. When you hear these things, what are your thoughts? What do you think about that?
Well, it's competition, right? So just like in football or whatever, there's going to be a lot of trash talk, which I think is pretty healthy. I think there's a lot of quite a lack
No.
of sports. No, but if you think about it, like, I can't just go up to my mate in one of my mates and be like, yeah, like, I support this team because of this, and this player is really good, and no one really does that yet.
I hope you're an Arsenal fan.
I won't tell you, but
Arsenal fan identified.
At the end of the day, I think for sure it's kind of sad to see everyone hate on G2. Let's say or Europe, or saying NA is better than Europe or whatever. It's nice to see, but when they go a bit too far and flame the individual, actually, you know what? At the end of the day, if you want to be a professional athlete, you just have to take the hate, I guess. You just have to embrace it and let it make you stronger. You can't just be a wuss and read that and just get super depressed of it. At the end of the day, it's competition. You should expect to get flamed. You should expect to get criticized. And if you can't improve from that, then you're not going to make it far. So if it doesn't give you motivation to improve that someone's flaming you, then you're not going to make it far, and Europe will not be as good as the other regions, or League of Legends won't be as competitive as it could be, as hype as it could be, because in football or whatever, like, all these players get flamed, and at the same time, like, you either love them or hate them, and the football don't think that they're good, and they go on the pitch and they perform. So it's fine to have that trash talk, but people should really give G2 some slack. They are the best European team. That's all you can say.
Right.
And if they suck internationally, then that means EU sucks. That's it.
Right.
If TSM don't win internationally, it's because they suck as well. Everyone sucks except Korea.
Yeah.
Well, I
truer words have never been spoken.
I don't want to keep you for too long, Maxlore, because we're sort of running up against the end of our time here. But I just want to ask a quick question, because you said, okay, if you're a pro, you have to deal with trash talk. But I want to ask you, do you engage in any trash talk? Would you engage in any trash talk? We had Gilius on the podcast, and he's obviously known as a prodigious trash talker.
Though he doesn't like to call it trash talking.
Loco was talking about it.
Yeah,
too.
Loco as well was talking about trash talking as well.
Yeah, well, Gilius doesn't like to call it trash talking, but I think we all know what it is. Like, you can call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
But we know what it is. Would you ever mind taking a couple shots at somebody before a big game just to maybe raise the stakes a little bit? Are you into that, or is that not something that you would do as a professional?
Thing is, I kind of do it like already, like on the privately, you know, like with the, because everyone, like I know everyone, you know, so I can just go on TeamSpeak and say, you guys suck. I'm gonna beat you on Saturday or whatever. You know, I think it's a really fun thing to do, and I think honestly, I support Gilius in the fact that he's willing to trash talk and kind of get the backlash of it. But I think people just need to stop being like keyboard warriors or social justice warriors and just like slamming their keyboard as soon as it gets proven wrong or whatever. It's just a bit of banter, you know. I think trash talk is really healthy for competition to keep things spicy, let's say. So maybe this bit I will trash talk a lot more and show more of my personality. But at the end of the day, also the supporters and fans of League of Legends should just accept that if you want League of Legends to grow and be more competitive and stuff, and you want more personality, then you shouldn't go so hard on players that try to trash talk.
Yeah.
You
So
just take it as a funny gesture and just
chill
move
out,
on,
people. That's
chill
it.
out. Yeah. Well, the way you're describing the kind of trash talk you do, it's kind of between friends, right? Like, would you ever do it in a situation where it's not
Put it
necessarily
on Twitter so I can like it and retweet.
Because Gilius is calling people out on Twitter, and then Gilius was also the
But a lot of people who are defending trash talk, they're always like, yeah, you know, it's a bit of banter between friends. But what about in the situations where it's not between friends?
Then it's fun. Then it's fun for fans.
Okay?
Then it's fun for fans.
There are two kinds. You know, the ones that you do
Yeah.
between friends, and then the one you put on a show for the audience.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm just wondering, like, for Maxlore, does that trash talk, is that something that you go ahead with as well when it's not between friends, when it's not like that banter on TeamSpeak, but it's actually like calling out
Public.
someone for being bad or being a fraud or whatever, right?
Exposed.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I haven't done it before, so I can't exactly. But coming to think of it, it is something I should do more. I'm not sure. The thing is, I'm not sure if because for example, I think if I was to play one of these Eastern teams where they're more kind to each other and they don't like trash talking,
It's
and
a lot
it's very
more
disrespectful
subtle.
if you do it, then I won't call them out on Twitter. But maybe if I play against any EU team, because I know
Any
lots
NA
of
team.
European players, and if they, at least if they don't like the trash talking, then I can confront them at the studio or whatever and be like, okay, I'm sorry for this, whatever. But I won't get that opportunity with the foreign teams. So it's only, I think it's something I would do in EU, but when it comes to international tournaments, then I'd have to maybe befriend people first, and then if I know they can take it, then I'll probably do it.
Well, that's cool. It sounds like the EU regions are close. Like the players seem like they have a good relationship, good banter.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That's great.
but when you hit those
Yeah,
NA teams, you could probably get a couple lines here and there, you know.
Well,
There's a lot of insults being flown behind the scenes.
oh,
that not
put
many
it
people know.
on Twitter.
No, can you give us one?
No,
Can you
but
give us at least one?
It's funny stuff, like. But maybe they're a bit.
I'm
No, here.
I'm
be
sure
different.
EU had a field day
choose a
with the
person.
TSM Marine series.
Oh.
I'm sure EU had
I'm
a
sure he's-
field day with that.
Insults between each other, right? You say you're close to Sven, right? So what do you make fun of Sven for normally?
No, well, out of G2, I probably know him the least.
Oh.
But, the thing is, he makes fun of me most of the time. But then we beat them, you know. So
Ball don't lie.
What did you?
but no, he just like, for example, with Trick, I make fun of him a lot, and he makes fun of me like.
How do
I
you
make
make
fun
fun
of
of
him that I
Trick?
won, and he makes fun of me like, did you like stuff like this, you know? So it's just good banter at the end of the day.
That's awesome.
I want to know. Can you give me at least some insight into Europe on the TSM Gigabyte Marine series? Is any banter that happened while you were watching that? Because the office here was full of it.
I haven't been on. I haven't been talking with loads of people recently on TeamSpeak because my PC kind of broke. So I'm just
okay.
using my dad's laptop now. So I'm not I'm not like chilling with people right now. But
Got it.
when a new PC comes, then yeah,
Full banter
Full
on.
banter. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're reaching the
Maybe.
end of our show. So with the off season, what are you going to be doing? What are your plans for the off season?
Most of the off season has already gone by, you know.
Isn't it? Is it already? Are you gonna?
But it might. Well,
Yeah. Sorry. Are you gonna go back to the
What?
Misfits house soon?
What? yeah, I mean, some teams have already started scrimming already, but
Oh.
I'll be back in about a week and a half or something like this.
Mhm.
I guess during the off season I've just been kind of relaxing, and I wanted to take a break from the game, but I'm too motivated, so I couldn't until my PC broke. So
You
then
played
I-
so much your computer broke.
I got forced to not play. Pardon?
I was saying how you played and you practiced so
Why my
hard that the
computer
computer was like, "That's enough."
Yeah, I don't know. It just stopped working. There's nothing I could do about it. So I'm just chilling here and just playing some other games and watching a few series that I didn't spend time on during the season. And I visited a few family and friends. So I think I've gotten a lot out of this off season.
That's good. That's good to hear. Now, do you have any final words you might want to say maybe to the fans who are watching you now that you're joining Misfits? And just, I guess, what are your hopes for the next season?
Well, I guess firstly I have to kind of apologize to the ROCCAT fans for leaving and maybe letting them down. But I hope the people supporting me in ROCCAT or ROCCAT supporters can keep supporting me in Misfits, because it really helps when you have the people behind your back telling you can do it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's really helpful. I'll not book the positive feedback.
There you go.
Cool.
That's great. All right. Best of luck next season, Maxlore, and thank you so much for joining us today. It was really fun.
Yeah. Cheers, Maxlore.
Yes, thank you.
Cheers.
All right. And everyone who's watching, I see the chat has been really active. You guys
Very
are going at
hectic.
it. I love it.
Maybe because we kept bringing up NA versus EU.
Yeah, that's
Maybe.
almost certainly why.
It's a
Everyone
fire.
comes
It's
out
a
for that
fire
one.
starter, man.
Well,
I don't
thank
know.
you so much, everyone, for joining us today. What do you guys think? Did you guys have fun?
I mean, like, we're so Misfits-ful here.
I know.
I love it.
The Misfits
Yeah.
have been really great.
Yeah, it's been cool, and I really like the talk about. I should do more trash talking. From It's like, I love it. I love it. Like, he used the word spicy, and that
we
that's how I
should
feel.
do more trash talking.
I don't know. Josh
know.
seems a little soft. He looks like
No,
he's
Josh
feeling
has
to
some.
get
Josh
hurt.
has some good one-liners behind the scenes.
I do.
Oh,
I can't say them here, but
Yeah.
well, there you go. Everyone can look forward to the Josh Flames coming up. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back next week.
Cheers, guys.
Be sure to tune in next week, guys. Thank you.
see ya.
They can hear you. Shut up.
I guess I should kill your mic, huh? You can't be
Bye, everyone.
trusted.